I know my boundaries. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will
got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this, but I want to fight you.
AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight JakePaul? And there was,
I wouldn't fight him. I'd bash him.
Yeah, but he might do it. He might just do it for just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events.
Look into the camera and say it directly because it just has to be said. JakePaul, sir, you are absolutely delusional.
JakePaul has repeatedly voiced his ambition to take on elite boxers, and now Anthony Joshua has addressed the challenge. Speaking through his promoter Eddie Hearn, Joshua has simply stated, "Listen, I fight him," Hearn revealed. This, emphasizing that AJ never shies away from competition. While a matchup between them seems improbable due to their vast difference in experience, Joshua's openness to the idea has sparked intrigue. Whether Paul is genuinely interested or just stirring the pot remains uncertain. But one thing is for sure, AJ is always ready for a fight.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question because the world of media went mental this morning. Anthony Joshua against JakePaul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think JakePaul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, AJ would fight JakePaul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if JakePaul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. But, the only thing that was disappointing was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, LA Olympics for the surfing 2028, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage, but I don't know. Those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning. He went, listen, of course I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight JakePaul? And there was,
I wouldn't fight him. I'd bash him.
Yeah, but he might do it. He might just do it for just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events, right? You know that's going to create like unbelievable viewership, and no disrespect to JakePaul, it's a straightforward night's work. But I like this calling out of Canelo and all this. AJ it's another challenge up there. But if they're game, why not?
What did he say, AJ, to you about it?
He said, why not? I said, what do you want me to say when I'm asked about it? And he said, tell everyone I'll fight anyone, anytime. It's not a problem for me.
JakePaul has set his sights on Anthony Joshua, claiming the former heavyweight champion. LA seeks durability, skill, and flexibility. The social media star turned boxer took to Twitter, sharing a photo of Joshua on a call with the caption, "Look who called 2026 Anthony Joshua." Paul insists he would defeat AJ, adding fuel to the speculation. Meanwhile, Joshua responded by posting a screenshot of his call with Paul on Instagram. Shortly after being called out, this online back and forth has intensified speculation among fans about a possible fight between the YouTuber and the boxing champion. Additionally, JakePaul reposted a statement from BVAFA Sports, revealing that he had sent a list of desired opponents for 2025 and 2026 just days after the Canelo fight negotiations collapsed. That list included 6 names, one of them being Anthony Joshua. Paul later confirmed his intent to make the fight happen. The boxing world remains divided, with many believing that Paul's aspiration to challenge a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua are far-fetched and overly ambitious.
The real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at JakePaul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights. Then he asked for the toughest fights ever, and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh, crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind. You're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And
complicating JakePaul's boxing ambitions further. Reports suggest he is also lined up for a bout against Gervonta Tank Davis. This news comes on the heels of Davis's controversial fight with Lamont Roach. Despite this, Paul has continued to express his strong desire to take on Anthony Joshua, reinforcing his determination to face top-tier opponents across different weight divisions.
Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Raphael said the same thing earlier that day or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, you know, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
Following his match against Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis took the spotlight at the post-fight press conference to call out Jake Paul. This unexpected challenge adds another intriguing twist to the ongoing storyline surrounding Paul's boxing career.
Who were you gonna call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul?
Next question.
Man, god damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Jake Paul's bold challenge to Anthony Joshua, a two-time unified heavyweight champion, has left the boxing world stunned. Many find it hard to believe that Paul, with his limited experience in the ring, would confidently target a fighter of Joshua's stature. His willingness to make such claims has sparked debate among fans and analysts alike.
Jake Paul has just called Anthony Joshua out. Yes, Anthony Joshua, AJ, the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. This brother called this man out. Oh my God. Now, in a recent clip on Jake Paul's podcast, I think, he basically said that he will beat Anthony Joshua's ass and he has no skill, no chin, and he's too stiff for him. He also apologized to Anthony, saying, Anthony, I'm sorry, we're friends, but I know I can beat your ass. This guy is tapped in the head. Then again, he almost got a fight with Tank. If Tank beat Lamont Roach when they drew, he would have fought Jake Paul. It was lined up, basically. A lot of people get mad when people say he's the face of boxing. These highly rated boxers want to fight Jake Paul. So, I don't know what to say, honestly. But one thing for sure, AJ will never fight. AJ's too classy for that. Way too classy. He respects the sport of boxing too much to fight this guy. Absolute plonker. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you follow for the most up-to-date and sharpest boxing news and content on TikTok.
The boxing world has swiftly reacted to Jake Paul's remarks about Anthony Joshua, with critics pointing to Paul's loss against Tommy Fury as a reason to question his credibility in evaluating Joshua's skills. A Twitter user sarcastically noted, YouTube boxer Jake Paul, who lost to Tommy Fury, claims heavyweight Anthony Joshua has no chin, no skill, is stiff, and that he would beat him. What is this guy talking about? Despite this, Joshua hasn't dismissed the idea of a fight, as revealed by his promoter Eddie Hearn, who quoted AJ saying, "Listen, I fight him." While this demonstrates Joshua's openness, many in the boxing community see the matchup as far-fetched due to the sheer difference in skill and experience. Some have even labeled the idea as delusional, questioning whether such a fight would hold any real competitive value.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and like, I'm actually being dead serious. Like, I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in France, I think Ngannou. That is not going to run well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury in Ngannou was when it came around, or, you know, yeah, or Mayweather McGregor. Like, you know, it can't happen.
MMA fighter Anthony Smith has weighed in on Jake Paul's approach to boxing, suggesting that Paul strategically targets legendary fighters to secure lucrative paydays. Smith implies that Paul's tactic revolves around calling out big names through trash talk, leading to high-profile fights that generate major financial rewards. This aligns with widespread observations that Paul often selects aging or inactive opponents, an approach that has sparked debate among boxing purists, who question the legitimacy of his matchmaking.
If Jake Paul beats Anderson Silva, we should all fucking boycott the rest of his fights until he fucking fights someone that's on his level, or whatever level he we deem him to be on. You talk all this shit about MMA fighters. You talk shit about the UFC. Then you pretend that you want to bring fighters up and you want everyone to get paid better, but then you trash everyone every time they fight. Now we're putting food on your fucking table for you to drag our legends, older, shorter, smaller, past their prime legends that have spent their entire careers running their bodies into fucking car accidents. And then we hold these guys near and dear to our heart. And then this fuckhead just pulls them out of fucking semi-retirement and then just knocks them out in fucking pay-per-view and then she'll shits on all of us. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, why are we still fucking pandering to this piece of shit?
Jake Paul's ambitions aren't limited to boxing, as he has also expressed interest in facing MMA superstar Conor McGregor. Paul claims that his own boxing skills are on the rise, while implying that McGregor's abilities have diminished with age. This bold assertion has been met with skepticism, given McGregor's extensive combat sports background and accomplishments. However, Paul's comments reinforce his strategy of challenging high-profile athletes to elevate his own reputation in the fighting world and maintain public interest in his career.
You think McGregor's done?
I think he has to come back and fight, but he needs to win.
Will he fight you?
I don't think he will. I think my skill level is outgrowing his in boxing, and I have the height advantage. He can't beat me, and I think he probably knows that. And time, he's only getting older, and I'm only getting better.
Many fans are eager to see a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, mainly because they believe Joshua would dismantle Paul inside the ring. Paul's history of calling out elite fighters and making grand claims has made him one of the most divisive figures in combat sports, while fans view his confidence in challenging Joshua as wildly unrealistic due to their vast differences in experience, skill, and weight class. The idea of such a fight has nonetheless sparked widespread interest. Some are hoping that Joshua will be the one to finally silence Paul's bold proclamations with a decisive statement in the ring.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP and Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
And Anthony Joshua has finally shared his thoughts on Jake Paul's growing impact on boxing, while acknowledging that Paul lacks the experience of a seasoned fighter. Joshua admitted that Paul has undeniably contributed to the sport's financial success. He recognizes that Paul's ability to draw attention and sell fights has introduced boxing to a new audience, something that traditional boxing purists may not always appreciate, but cannot ignore.
So, Jake Paul?
Yeah, good. Great for boxing. Good luck to him. He's trying. Zero amateur experience. Throwing himself in the deep end. I guarantee you he'll probably learn a lot more than a lot of fighters will that are just half-hearted with it. Man's throwing himself in the deep end, putting himself under pressure. When you can deal with that amount of pressure, you have to get better at it. So yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Interestingly, Jake Paul has previously expressed admiration for Anthony Joshua, once calling him one of his favorite fighters. Despite his recent trash talk, Paul has openly praised Joshua's achievements and skill in the ring. However, his latest remarks suggest growing frustration with the boxing world, arguing that too much emphasis is placed on money and politics, rather than making the biggest fights a reality.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight. And what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money. Get in there. Make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Jake Paul has made a bold claim that he is the only real fighter in boxing, asserting that he brings unmatched energy and excitement to the sport, unlike traditional fighters who dismiss YouTube boxing entirely. Anthony Joshua has taken a more neutral stance. He has acknowledged that YouTube boxing has played a role in growing the sport, attracting a younger audience and increasing overall viewership. Joshua admits that fighters like Jake Paul have introduced boxing to fans who otherwise may not have engaged with it.
What do you make of this YouTube
10 out of 10.
boxing scene?
I'm telling you, it's good for boxing because it's showing people you can fight someone that is well-known, credible, can fight, marketable, without a championship and have that same effect early on in your career, and you can still get all the rewards anyway. So I think that they're showing guys, oh, hang on a minute, there's so much potential in boxing regardless of championships. And I think it's good because now people start taking more risks early on. These guys coming into the game are changing the landscape for the better, showcasing that if you have a business mind on, marketable, creative, content driven, obviously talented, you can generate big business and do great things.
Jake Paul has built a reputation for calling out boxing legends, offering them massive paydays, and then trash talking them after their fights. His bout against Tommy Fury resulted in his first professional loss. Yet Paul continues to market himself as boxing's biggest attraction, maintaining that he brings unparalleled attention to the sport.
Who is the most power you've ever felt in a fight?
I would say Tommy Fury. It's the shots you don't see. So Tommy was a little tricky. Mike's punches I could see coming. He was strong, but he didn't land anything clean. So I honestly didn't feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I mean, you don't want to, so.
I feel like he lost confidence second round. Like he stopped giving his all.
He just started surviving.
One of the most controversial moments of Jake Paul's career was his decision to challenge Mike Tyson. The former heavyweight champion, once one of the most feared fighters in history, was well past his prime when Paul floated the idea of a match. Although Paul later won a fight by decision in a different bout, his call out of Tyson sparked outrage. Many fans felt he was disrespecting the legacy of a boxing icon, arguing that challenging an aging legend was a step too far.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
And he was a larger than life figure in my childhood.
Truly, me
when
too.
I was a kid, when he was the champ, it was like people don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champ of the world. He was an executioner. Like
Truly.
Every fight was just a matter of how long was it going to last.
Which fight it was that I went to go see a couple of fights, and I actually went to go see Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and that's when I met Tyson in the green room.
Watching Netflix on Friday night, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Yes, I was. But what did I make of it? I think commercially and a business sense, thought it was absolutely fantastic. Both men made a ton of money. So best luck to them. Congratulations. As far as the boxing fight, it wasn't a fight. It was a tip and tap. Don't hit me, I won't hit you. Circle the ring a little bit. Make it look good. That's all it was. So I don't really make too much of it.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more updates.